Ladies and gentlemen, compañeras y compañeros, I'm delighted to introduce our opening act, rhythmic troubadour Ruben Gonzalez and Handmade.
¿Hay alguien ahí? Acá. Could you bring the bass up on the monitor? It so happens that from all the way up there, you can't possibly see us. From all the way up there, it's very hard. Desde ahí. Desde ahí, desde tu alto mando, las habitaciones donde deciden este país. Desde ahí, con tu cara fiera, con tu voz de mando, con tu sarcasmo no puedes ver el dolor que causa tu firma, la razón que afecta a las vidas de los promesantes y manifestantes, con las voces rotas de tirar pa'lante, de los estudiantes y los inmigrantes, con las voces roncas de tanto rezar. Desde ahí, desde ahí, desde tu alto puesto, entre los consejos y las burbujas de tu cóctel. Desde ahí, con tus convicciones, con tu ideología, con tus razones, no puedes ver el sufrir que causan tus leyes. No sabes todo lo que hieres a los que trabajan, que suben y bajan, a los que persiguen el pan de ellos diario, a los hacinados y los olvidados que nacen y mueren por tu decisión. Desde ahí, from over there, from your high places, from the chambers where decisions are made, from over there, from your easy chair, over cocktails, your lofty plans are laid. You don't see the pain and suffering, you don't see the despair you're causing to the students, to the immigrants, to the workers and the poor. You don't see the old woman begging for money by your door, nor those dreaming for a full life who won't surrender anymore. Desde ahí, Desde ahí, desde tu alto mando, con tus corruptores que siempre compran aprobación. Desde ahí, desde tu poltrona, con tu media gala que no regala nada jamás. Desde ahí no ves la viejita mendigar unas moneditas, ni a los asesinados, los desperdiciados, los que no protestan y hacen un reclamo, los que desesperan, los que no se entregan, los que siempre sueñan una vida plena. Help me please sing. It goes like this. La 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 desde ahí. Muchas gracias. The English words for that song were written by, or a version of my words in English by David Tarlo. Some of you may know him. So I want to thank him. And also, thank you for singing the harmony. The next song is for you to sing the harmony. Because that's what a lot of you do, I know. I know. I am from San Juan, Argentina. Been a New Yorker for longer than I've been an Argentinian, in a way. So I'm in between, like many of us. There is so many borders. I crossed the border illegally back in 1988. I was a baby then. I crossed the border as a baby. And I'm glad to be here. And this is a mix of what we do, the handmade. And this, in Argentina, in New York, the numbers don't add up. Las cuentas no le dan. Cuenta y cuenta y no le dan. Las cuentas, por favor, cante con nosotros. Luisa, pentada en la mesa, recuenta sus cuentas al menor detalle y las cuentas no le dan. Cuenta y no le dan. Nelson trabaja en la esquina, que es su medicina, y paga la renta y las cuentas no le dan. Cuenta y no le dan. Juana cargando la ropa que lava y que dobla en casas ajenas. Ayúdame. Y las cuentas, ¿sabes qué? No le dan. Cuenta y no le dan. Luna, ayúdame, por favor. Luna que mira hacia arriba, mis cuitas tardías, tanto he trabajado y las cuentas no me dan. Cuenta y no me dan. Lo demás sigue en paz. El mundo da vueltas y se hace el pan. Religión, guerra y Dios. El negro Baltasar nunca llegó. derecha en su bicicleta, va tarde al trabajo pensando en sus cosas. Y las cuentas no le dan, cuenta y cuenta, cuenta y cuenta y no le dan. Sergio hizo todo lo que pudo por criar bien sus hijas y ahora le piden y las cuentas no le dan, cuenta y cuenta y no le dan. Pedro hace lo que nadie quiere, por eso lo odian, pero sobrevive. Y las cuentas no le dan, cuenta y cuenta y no le dan. Luna que miras con pena, cuando hago mis cuentas me pides que sueñe, que los sueños sí te dan, que los sueños sí te dan, que los sueños sí te dan. My friend David Tarlow again went to a demonstration and saw a sign. Many of you saw it perhaps. In Spanish is, querían enterrarnos y se olvidaron que somos semilla. They wanted to bury us and they forgot we are seed. He said, why don't you write a song? I was like, oh, maybe. And he started writing his own song. And so I did write the song, and but also I met them through the Taller Latinoamericano that has anyway, Bernardo Palombo Taller always keeps saying that English and Spanish are different because Spanish has more ways of saying the same thing with a different order in the sentence. Johnny goes to school, there is only so many ways you can say it, he says, but Juancito va a la escuela va Juancito, a la escuela Juancito va a la escuela Juancito. So I thought of all these things, and it's kind of a Spanish lesson, but I didn't, this is my, se olvidar. So what you have to say is que querían enterrarnos y se olvidaron algo, querían enterrarnos y algo se olvidaron. Se olvidaron que somos semilla. La 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 la. Quisieron enterrarnos y se olvidaron algo. Quisieron enterrarnos y algo se olvidaron. Algo se olvidaron. Quisieron enterrarnos y se olvidaron algo. Se olvidaron que somos semilla, que la tierra siempre es nuestra amiga. Quisieron ahogarnos y se olvidaron algo. Quisieron ahogarnos y algo se olvidaron. Algo se olvidaron. Quisieron ahogarnos y se olvidaron algo. Se olvidaron que somos el alga, el microbio que crece en el agua. Quisieron quemarnos y se olvidaron algo. Quisieron quemarnos fuego y algo se olvidaron. Algo se olvidaron. Quisieron quemarnos y se olvidaron algo. Que se olvidaron, somos incendio. Se olvidaron que somos incendio. Somos chispa que comienza el fuego. La 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 la. Quisieron asfixiarnos y se olvidaron algo. Quisieron asfixiarnos y algo se olvidaron. Algo se olvidaron. Quisieron asfixiarnos. Quisieron asfixiarnos y se olvidaron algo. Se olvidaron que somos una idea que continúa aunque yo me muera. Quisieron olvidarnos y se olvidaron algo. They wanted to forget us, but they forgot something. They forgot we are the witness to the story. Y algo se olvidaron. Quisieron olvidarnos y se olvidaron algo. Se olvidaron que somos memoria, el testigo que cuenta la historia. Somos semilla y microbio, somos la chispa, la idea, somos memoria del pueblo que en el aire vuela. Se olvidaron algo. Thank you very much. I want to thank Singing Solidarity for having us here. All of you, it's great to sing. We know socially each other, some of us, and it's great to be here for everyone else too. My band is called Handmade, Hecho a Mano, and it changes all the time. Today, the band members changed 3 times in the same day. Over here, he was already in the gig for a while. But over here, we had a guitar player. She said, I'm afraid of COVID. A cuatro player, he said, I have social, whatever. And in stepped Josh Fox. From Chicago, just passing by. Sean says, come over here, let's play. Learn the songs today. And here he is. Thank you. And Sean Dixon, all-around musician, percussionist. This song I wrote with a friend of mine. Hopefully I can see all the... Paloma Ruiz wrote the words, and I wrote the music. Esta canción la hice con Paloma Ruiz. Y dice que se va a acabar. La 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 ira 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 la 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 ira 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 la 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 ira 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 ira. Se va a acabar esa forma de mirarme, va a terminar el tono con que me hablas, va a caducar tu rencor y tu violencia. Agotada mi paciencia, un día se va a acabar. Va a terminar tu manito por la espalda y el besuquear un poco más de lo debido. Vas a enfrentar tu lugar de privilegio que aprendiste en el colegio y aprendiste en el hogar. Se va a acabar que siempre ganes más plata por trabajar como yo haciendo lo mismo. Si no entendés por las buenas ahora mismo, algún día serán malas las que te hagan entender. Va a terminar, va a caducar, finiquitar, finalizar, va a concluir, se va a extinguir, se va a acabar, se va a acabar. Y no me hables con el lenguaje inclusivo, si por detrás te reís con tus amigos. Va a terminar tu dominio y dinastía, el desdén con que me miras, tu ignorancia y tu poder. Se va a acabar, hacer del desentendido, vos entendés, agoniza tu poderío. Vas a cambiar porque lo piden los tiempos. Cuando yo subo te llevo, es mejor de par a par. Va a terminar, va a caducar, finiquitar, finalizar, va a concluir, se va a extinguir, se va a acabar, se va a acabar. Se va a acabar. Listening to the songs that I put together in a very small room in Washington Heights. Oh, and I like to knit stories with words, English, Spanish, different beats. This is what comes out. But I'm gonna sing a song that is not of my making, and it's Como la Cigarra. Some of you know it. And we, during the pandemic, Hassan Valisali and I and Mario Cancelbigay, we were trying to perform, and we came up with English words for La Cigarra. La Cigarra is a cicada. And we found that after a year underground and waiting, a lot of us were like, and last year I think the cicadas came back in 17 years, I think, or something. Serenading the sun just like the cicada. After a year underground and waiting, just like the wartime survivor returning from the darkness. ¿La canta conmigo? Cantando al sol como la cigarra, después de un año bajo la tierra, igual que el sobreviviente que vuelve de la guerra. Tantas veces me mataron, tantas veces me morí, sin embargo estoy aquí resucitando. Gracias, gracias doy a la desgracia. ¿Por qué? Porque me mató tan mal. Las manos con pulso, me mató tan mal. Y seguí cantando. Cantando al sol como la cigarra. Let me hear you. Cantando al sol como la cigarra. Después de un año bajo la... Igual que el sobreviviente, igual que el que vuelve de la guerra. Que vuelve de la guerra. Tantas veces me borraron, tantas desaparecí, a mi propio entierro fui, solo y llorando. Hice un nudo en el pañuelo, pero me olvidé después que no era la única vez. ¿Y qué hice? Y seguí cantando, serenading the sun just like the cicada. Serenading the sun just like the cicada. After a year underground and waiting, just like the wartime survivor, returning from the darkness. Tantas veces te mataron, tantas noches pasarás desesperando, y a la hora del naufragio, y a la hora de la oscuridad, alguien te rescatará, alguien te... ¿Para qué? Para ir cantando, cantando al sol como la cigarra, después de un año bajo la tierra, igual que el sobreviviente que vuelve de la guerra. Serenading the sun, just like the cicada. After a year underground and waiting, just like the wartime survivor, returning from the darkness, returning from the darkness. Cantando al sol como la cigarra, después de un año bajo la tierra, igual que el sobreviviente que se escuche, que vuelve de la guerra. Gracias por cantar, gracias. Gracias. Gracias por cantar, gracias. Como están cantando, les voy a pedir que canten otra canción. And if you don't know Spanish, let's practice a little bit. Because this song, many times it says, well, what is the point of singing? And maybe, what is the point? Ruben, what are you doing? What's the point of singing? So I kind of wrote an answer. Cantar, singing, is putting together words and music. We're singing to be free. That's the whole point. Maybe you will be free on the streets singing political songs. We are free when we play here. Maybe you are free in the shower. That's what music does to you. So I want to invite you to, once again, to share in the healing powers of music. And the words go like this. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar palabra y música. Juntar palabra y música. Cantar, cantar, para ser libre. Para ser libre. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar palabra y música, cantar para ser libre. ¿Sí me entiendes? Sí. Ahora vamos a... ¿Lista? Ya. Cantar, cantar, cantar. ¿Para qué sirve? Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar palabra y música. Juntar palabra y cantar para ser libre. Cantar para ser libre. Para mis ídolos. Como te lo dijo Mercedes Sosa, hay otra cosa. Sabe que no basta ser entonada, sin fundamento cantar no es nada. Canta las espinas, canta la rosa. Mercedes Sosa, ayúdame, por favor. Cantar, 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 ¿para qué sirve? Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar, juntar palabra y música, cantar para ser libre. Gracias a la vida, Violeta Parra, y a tu guitarra, levantaste el siglo con tus pulmones. Somos quien somos por tus canciones. Me hubiera encantado verte de farra. ¿Cómo se llama? Violeta Parra. Buena. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar, juntar palabra y música. Cantar para ser libre. Falta una. Y si usted lo escribe, chabuca agranda, la gente agranda, tendrá la cadencia repiquetea, que hay que bailarla con elegancia. El eco del pueblo tu canto manda, chabuca agranda. Ayúdeme, por favor. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar palabra y música. Cantar para ser libre. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar palabra y música. Cantar para ser libre. Cantar, cantar, cantar. Cantar, ¿para qué sirve? Juntar palabra y música, cantar para ser libre. Thank you for singing with us. My name is Ruben Gonzalez, el grupo Hecho a Mano o Handmade. Today with, from Chicago, give it up for Josh Fox. Este Fox. It's a Fox. And my good friend from years, I could bore you with everything, but I won't. Sean Dixon, please give it up for him. Thank you, Singing Solidarity. Thank you. We do have some CDs over there on the entrance if you want to give a contribution or something.
A ver ahí. ¿Se escucha? ¿Se escucha? ¿Sí? Sí, ok. Ya. Ok. Buenas tardes. Good evening. My name is César, o compa César, a veces me conocen. So my friends in Singing Solidarity told me they were doing this event and that they were singing all these songs from the Nueva Canción Chilena, and asked me if I could do kind of a historical context, and I say yes. And I prepared this not to be that boring. I'm a professor and I'm very boring. Okay. So I don't know if it's gonna sound well. We'll see. Okay, here's better. Me mandaron una carta por el correo temprano y en esa carta me dicen que cayó preso mi hermano. Y sin lástima con grillos por la calle lo arrastraron, sí. This is the beginning of a 1962 song by Violeta Parra, popularly known as La Carta, the letter. It is a fear response to authorities. It talks about her brother Roberto being dragged through the streets by the police and arrested in the context of a workers' strike and a terrible repression. The song is a protest against authorities, a furious song that questions their legitimacy and that names those in power for what they were, the enemy. This is the spirit of La Nueva Canción Chilena, denouncing, distancing itself from the powerful and from a certain idea of Chile. Chile, in La Nueva Canción, is a possibility that will only become reality through the organization of the people, el pueblo. And for that, there needs to be creation that is based in the memory of the people. A new music for a new Chile, and a new Chile that can only be constructed through class struggle, at work, in the fields, on the streets, at home, through culture. It was powerful, and it was beautiful. In 1905, many decades before La Nueva Canción took form, and 2 days before the celebrations on the anniversary of the national independence, Luis Emilio Recabarren, the founder of the Chilean Communist Party, wrote in the workers' newspaper El Proletario, and I quote, I told you I'm a professor. Many times we ask ourselves, what does El Pueblo celebrate during September 18th? The bourgeoisie tells us, well, we celebrate our political emancipation, our independence as a republic. But the reality is that the proletarian class won't know liberty. If the workers have any liberty at all, it is the liberty to starve to death, live in misery, or spend their life in prison. In order to really see these things, in order to analyze this reality, we need to step back from the fanatism that pushes us to believe ourselves emancipated and to stop considering this independence as ours. The proletarian pueblo doesn't have anything, nothing to celebrate in this state because we have not conquered our liberty yet. Those who really emancipated themselves from Spanish rule were the rich, and not because of their efforts, but because of the effort and blood of the poor. The poor were poor under the Spanish monarchy and are still poor today under the rule of the Chilean monarchy. Open your eyes, pueblo. You do not have your liberty, and you should prepare to conquer it. The bourgeoisie and land-owning Winca classes not only appropriated the land and the wealth of the country, they also appropriated the people's cultural expressions. Un poco fuerte.
El pueblito se llama Las Condes y está junto a los cerros.
They rescued whatever did not produce friction. They standardized it and created that folklore that celebrates a nation without classes, without races, without exploitation, without poverty. An empty place, neutral subjects that love the country above all. A Chile where indigenous people are not vibrant living communities, but people from the past. A Chile where the obedience and resignation of obreres and campesinas are celebrated, where class violence, exploitation, and struggle are hidden. Okay. In contrast, La Nueva Canción talks from a very specific collective subject: workers, indigenous, marginalized people. Against the snobism that separated Chile from Latin America and that followed the bourgeoisie trends of the North, La Nueva Canción is Latin Americanist and internationalist. And it does this by rescuing, producing the sounds and textures from below and to the left. These musicians tell everyone about the suffering and also the joys of the people, always grounding the message in history. La Nueva Canción becomes a big force during the 60s through the work of Violeta Parra and others who research, gather, and disseminate the sound of the people, and that then start generating a particular lyricism and sound that comes from there. But La Nueva Canción is not mere folklore or a rescue that only opposes the pacified vision of the landowners. It was a current sound, and a sound that wanted to be massified. And for that, it had to also distinguish itself from the pop sound that also gained force in the 60s. What was called La Nueva Ola Chilena, the new wave, was a very popular music that takes recognizable sounds from rock and roll and other foreign pop sounds. Pop music, for better and for worse, as always, also talks about a neutral subject, without class, without history. There were sticky melodies, a lot of sentimentalism, not much else. Nothing wrong there, I guess, and I can imagine Victor Jara and Violeta dancing to a rock and roll tune. It was just that this was reproductive music, and La Nueva Canción was all production. Along with the worker and peasant chants, the songs of Violeta, Isabel, and Ángel Parra, of Victor Jara, Quilapayún, Inti Illimani, Patricio Mans, and so many others, are the soundtrack of the people's struggle to conquer power. It is music with an objective and a crystal clear setting. It sticks to you and politically agitates you. It does not construct victims, but subjects ready for the struggle. And it is sticky because it innovated using the memory of the people's practice. Indigenous instruments, el charango and la zampoña, for example, become protagonists, and the musical arrangements follow popular expressions of party celebrations. Of course, La Nueva Canción is anti-imperialist in solidarity with the Vietnamese people, with the independence movements in Africa, with Cuba, but also with the struggle of Black people in the US and with the proletarian protest song of Gringo Comrades. An example, this is a song by Pete Seeger.
Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of
You know the song?
little boxes,
Some of my Chilean friends maybe don't know this one, but they know Victor Jara's version.
Las casitas del barrio alto, con rejas y antejardín, una preciosa entrada de autos, esperando un Peugeot. Hay rosadas, verdecitas, blanquitas y celestitas, las casitas del barrio alto, todas hechas con resipol.
Yeah. So the political struggles of more than a century have a stellar climax in Allende's fourth presidential campaign of 1970 with Unidad Popular. The Venceremos of Inti Illimani becomes the campaign song. Allende campaigns in his train of victory from north to south, and the Venceremos march goes everywhere with him. And he won for the first time, 4 tries. So this is him celebrating his winning.
Este triunfo debemos dárselo en homenaje a los que cayeron en las luchas sociales. Este triunfo debemos dárselo en homenaje a los que cayeron.
I can imagine the victory of Unidad Popular. I wasn't yet born, but it's part of my imagination. Without imagining Quilapayún playing La Batea in the National Stadium. We cannot imagine all those years of struggle and democratic construction without La Nueva Canción. Without El Pueblo Unido Jamás Será Vencido, sung by Quilapayún for the first time in a massive rally of women supporting Allende. And we cannot imagine the fight, the massive and brave resistance against the murderous dictatorship without the music of La Nueva Canción. La Nueva Canción was creating history. It was history written in the present, for the present, and for a future to come. It is still beautiful. It is still powerful. Thank you.
This next beautiful song by Eduardo Carrasco of Quilapayún is in the rhythm of a huayno, which is a traditional folk dance of the Andes that has this very distinctive rhythm that you'll hear. I hope you all enjoy.
Amor
So the choir would like to pause here in the middle of our set to remember our dear departed friend and beloved comrade, Alexandra Zevin, who we lost to COVID this last winter. Alexandra was our art and design coordinator on our organizing committee and was a art teacher, union organizer, and had inner stores of fiery anger, but only for justice and for every person struggling. We would like to hold silence for her now in her memory. Rest in power, Alexandra Zevin.
if you know the words to this one or any, please sing along. We'd like to thank our compañeros from Desalambrar for joining us. And I'd like to welcome my dear compañero Franco Valdez. And we'd like to read this moving passage from the preface to Quilapayún's 1969 album, Basta, Enough. And,
Nuestro conjunto ha definido desde los comienzos su labor de compromiso con los intereses del proletariado y no ha escondido ni esconderá jamás su finalidad política. Esta nace del deseo de permanecer siempre fieles a la verdad naciente que impulsa y mueve a nuestros pueblos hacia la consecución de su auténtica realización histórica.
Since its inception, our group has defined its work as committed with the interests of the proletariat and hasn't concealed, nor will it ever conceal, its political aims. This is born of a need to remain forever loyal to the nascent truth that impels and mobilizes our people toward their hour of their authentic historical realization.
Todos los artistas que tienen la posibilidad de hacerlo deben entregar su labor a la causa revolucionaria. Con ello no solo cumplen su responsabilidad con la clase obrera, sino también con el arte, puesto que en una época de explotación y miseria, de sojuzgamiento de los pueblos, de guerras crueles e injustas, de desentrenado egoísmo e inconsistencia, de presiones que violentan la voluntad de los pueblos que buscan liberarse del imperialismo y el capitalismo. Los artistas que se ponen al margen y profitan de su posición de privilegio dentro de la sociedad, que de mil maneras busca corromperlos y enajenarlos, traicionan la esencia misma del arte, el afán de liberar, de educar y de elevar al hombre y a la mujer.
All artists that have the opportunity to give their work to the revolutionary cause should do so. And in that manner, not only do they fulfill their responsibility with the working class, but also with art itself, given that in an era of exploitation and misery, of subjugation, of cruel and unjust wars, of unrestrained egoism and selfishness, of repression which violates the will of the people who seek to liberate themselves from imperialism and capitalism, artists that remain on the fence and profit from their privileged position within society, which in 1,000 ways aims to bribe and alienate them, betray the very essence of art, an essence which yearns to liberate, to educate, to elevate humankind.
La sociedad burguesa quiere que el arte sea un factor más de enajenación. Los artistas debemos transformarlo en una arma revolucionaria hasta que la contradicción que actualmente existe en el arte y la sociedad sea por fin superada.
Bourgeois society wants art to be another factor contributing to social alienation. We artists should transform it into a revolutionary weapon until the contradiction that actually exists between art and society is finally surpassed.
Esta superación se llama revolución y su motor y agente fundamental es la clase obrera.
This surpassing is called revolution, and its motor and fundamental agent is the working class.
Nuestro conjunto, fiel a las ideas enunciadas por Luis Emilio Recabarren, presente, ve su labor como una continuación de lo que ya se ha realizado por muchos otros artistas populares.
Our group, loyal to the ideals of Luis Emilio Recabarren, sees its work as a continuation of what has already been achieved by many other popular and folk artists.
Este lugar de combate ha sido ocupado por artistas cuyos nombres están ya confundidos para siempre con la lucha revolucionaria de nuestro pueblo y el primero, Recabarren, presente. Los últimos, Violeta Parra y Pablo Neruda.
This side of the trenches has already been occupied by artists whose names are forever linked to the revolutionary struggle of our people. The first, Luis Emilio Recabarren. The latest, Violeta Parra and Pablo Neruda.
El ejemplo que nos ha dado es la luz que hoy nos guía.
The example they have given us is the light that guides us. El pueblo
unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo cantar, que vamos a triunfar. Jamás allá habrá unidad. Y tú vendrás marchando junto a mí. Y así verás tu canto y tu bandera florecer.
you, comrades, for coming to our show tonight. We are Singing Solidarity. We are the one and only socialist choir of Democratic Socialists of America. And before we sing our final song, we'd like to invite you all into our choir. Singing Solidarity is a big tent socialist music collective as well as a choir. And if you would like to join us, you may find yourself singing with the union on a picket line. And you may find yourself singing in the moonlight late into the night at one of our post-rehearsal Red Grass Hootenannies. And we are a democratically run all-volunteer choir. And if you join us, you decide what we sing and where we sing. And I'm sending around now a sign-up sheet for you guys if you would like to join our choir, or if you just want to be added to our mailing list to find out when our next rehearsal or event is. So please give us your information. We are all volunteer. We have no auditions, so literally everyone is welcome. Okay, so I'm passing this around now. So, meanwhile, this choir believes that socialist music is not a spectator sport. So we invite you all to please join us in our final song for the evening, Venceremos. And we also would like to invite you to our post-concert social. We're going to be gathering after we leave here at the Pig and Whistle at 202 36th Street.
Se
Answer so